Now, Ange, I have a theory that there are some people in life who are universally loved, right? I would say Hugh Jackman is one of these people.
Yes,
Do you agree?
I agree.
Yes.
Yep. Who else?
And, well, Denise Scott, our next guest. I don't know if she's been compared to Hugh Jackman before, but she's one of my favourite comedians and she joins us now. Hi there, Scotty.
Oh, universally loved. Thank you, Joe. That's a really good stuck-up way to start the interview. And good morning to you, Angela. I know you feel the same.
I do. I echo everything Joe has just said. We love you.
Well, is that all we need? That's all that needs to be said.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Great for you to join us. Thanks very much. Have a great week. Well, no, let's get straight to the point. You are doing a show with Judith Lucy, your dear friend, at the Malthouse Theatre in the next 3 Sundays, and this show is called Disappointments, I understand.
Yeah.
Have you had many in life? What's your top one?
Well, this is the thing. When Judith and I started this as a live, scripted, well thought out, crafted stage show, we called it Disappointments because at the time we were both really disappointed. Judith, it was whatever was happening in her personal life, and my career had just gone kaput. In fact, I'd been working on a sitcom. Sorry, not getting emotional, just old age burping. But well may you cackle with laughter jokes.
I'm sorry, Scotty.
You just spontaneously burp. You would have seen it in people. They just burp and keep talking. That's great. Keep talking.
We're not far behind you.
It's true.
But this is some years ago, 5 years ago or whatever, working the whole year on a sitcom and for Channel 7, and it finally got the pilot up and pilot made, and it was rejected. And it was so disappointing to me. And I remember at the time Judith Lucy said, "You can't take that personally, Scotty." And I said, "Judith, it was a show about a 60-year-old female comedian, and her name was Denise." So very hard not to take the rejection personally. So anyway, I took to my bed. I took to my bed and have been there pretty much ever since. I love my bed. And anyway, Judith and I decided, why don't we write a show? And we can only write what we know. And so we just decided to write about disappointments. And it couldn't have had more resonance with an audience. It was unbelievable. We thought it would be seen as negative and maybe not exciting to people, but oh my God, people came in droves, and people, if you saw them before the show, after the show, would grab you, "Let me tell you my disappointment." And it'd often be about their adult kids. Adult kids came in for a bit of a beating, husbands, just careers, body, health issues, and people loved sharing their disappointments. And then, sorry, this is a tremendously long-winded answer.
That's okay. We've got time.
But then, so we did 2 versions of that and stage show and toured around the country, and it was really a joyful show to do, because we finished it dancing in our flesh-coloured leotards, doing ribbon dancing to the Sneakers version of "We Are One, but We Are Many," and the audience lost their minds. It was a huge kind of moment, actually, Joe. And then, of course, life goes on, and then Judith seems to have the luck when it comes to getting disappointments in her life. And so she had a tremendous love disappointment, a terrible love story. and I just didn't get out of bed, so I was still in bed. And we decided over COVID to do a Zoomcast thing, Zoomcast, and then, which was very loose and very non-scripted. And then we decided, well, you know, they say you can't polish a turd, but wow, Judith and I just polished and polished and polished the turd and have kept making money out of it. And so now we've turned the Zoomcast loose structure into a stage show where we actually get audience to email us problems or if they want love. And because of COVID, they actually have to either get up on stage with us, standing, you know, the other side of the stage, or at the Malthouse shows, they're standing sort of to the side of us, facing the audience. It's quite a big deal. And man, the stories we are getting, we offer no help. We've helped absolutely no one thus far. But the journey has been so entertaining.
Well, Denise, given that life is full of so many disappointments, is the key message then that we all have to just temper our expectations about life and perhaps just rein them in a little bit? Or is that defeat?
Oh, you see, I'm the opposite to reining them in. Judith and I tend to lack discipline. For instance, in lockdown, and this is a true story, Angela, I started in the big lockdown in Melbourne, I started journaling. And one of the things I wrote in my journal, because I was starting to, well, I didn't have rules, I didn't have boundaries. I thought I've got to get some. And so I wrote in my journal, I must not drink, which is a fair enough sentiment, except that wasn't the end of the sentence. It was, I must not drink during the day or after I go to bed. Because what had happened was, this is what happened to me in lockdown, and it happened again in the snap 5-day lockdown we just had in Melbourne. I get up 4 o'clock, you know, go to the toilet, on my way back, I think, oh, bugger it, I feel like a gin and tonic. I'll have one. Well, I've got nothing I've got to get up for, nowhere to go. Just sit down and have a nice tea and tea.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night, ladies, and I know that your program probably doesn't encourage this sort of behaviour. This isn't probably the best way to deal with life's lemons, but anyway.
Oh, well, you squeezed life's lemons into your gin and tonic, and
yeah, good one, Joe. You brought it home with a gag.
So I need to raise with you actually a life disappointment that you and I share, and I think many women do. You know, once you're sort of over 45, I'm 48, and that is facial hair. So my whiskers are just, they're a constant obsession for me because I really quite like the feeling of them at the end of my fingertips. So I start to become quite fond of one particular, you know, whisker after a while. And then I think, oh no, I've got to pluck the shit out of that one. But, you know, I'm almost sad to see it go sometimes. But you too have this facial hair issue.
Well, it became quite a thing for Judith and I to discuss during lockdown because, of course, in Melbourne, beauticians were actually closed for over 4 months. You couldn't go to one. And that's when I became quietly desperate. And, you know, like everyone knows about the toilet paper, you know, the aisles, the shelves being empty. Well, did you try the self-waxing strip? Chemist Warehouse, I know who sponsored this program. Empty. You could not get a self-waxing strip. There was nothing left. And I have to say that I tried those and they just gave me red welts, like, on my upper lip. And then it was Judith Lucy who genuinely suggested I try the lady shaver thing. If you've seen it, I have got one. I've got my beauty bag. I can show you. It's always ready to go. Have I got one? Yes, I have. So it's
A demo.
See, can you see that?
Yes.
It's quite small. And then you just, hear that?
Yes.
Anyway, so that's it.
Scotty.
And I know, but it's really subtle. So I got one.
Yes.
Subtle, because ladies don't want to be seen to be shaving.
Sure.
And so I tried it one night in front of John. You know, I've been with John 40 years, Joe.
Yes.
I sat at the dinner table with him. He didn't even know I was shaving. That's how subtle. I sort of gave it a little test. Anyway, I have to say, it worked beautifully.
Mm.
I couldn't believe it. It was like a miracle. I thought I should have been onto this years ago. Face was smooth and hairless. And then the next morning, I woke up stubble.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
Massive
Yeah.
stubble. I looked like, one of the river boys from Home and Away. Well, I didn't look like that is more the point. I had the stubble of a river boy and the body of a 65-year-old woman. So then, so I had to just give in and grow a goatee.
Yeah.
And we had to wear masks. So,
Oh, jeez. Oh, Scott. Well, that was one of the greatest blessings of the mask. I will agree that nobody could see my mustache growing and my whiskers, but this is life.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That is really, really funny. I want to talk about, you're heading to Adelaide for Fringe.
Yes.
And the name of the show just is so funny for a South Australian like myself, because you've called the show the Chixel 500.
Sorry, I just want to point out that I'm drinking water, not
Okay.
gin and tonic.
Good to know.
Sorry, Angela.
The Chixel 500 resonated with me as a South Australian because of the famous street race that was there for about 20 years until COVID ended the street race, and then the state government decided not to renew the contract. So my question is, do you think you will become the next big thing in Adelaide?
Without doubt. And can you explain to me what it was? Because I'm a Melbourne person through and through, and it was an Adelaide person who gave the show its title, and I didn't understand it, but I just went along with it. So what's the street race?
Well, it was called the Clipsal 500. The sponsor's name was Clipsal. So it was a famous race through the streets of Adelaide, and it established itself as a really big tourist attraction for about 20 years. And there was huge disappointment when the race ended, when the state government decided not to renew the contract. But then here are you just seamlessly slotting into that spot. I mean, I don't know whether you know anything about motorsport. I'm assuming no, but that could be wrong.
Angela, I know so little that I don't even drive. I've never put petrol. Well, I did drive for a little while, so I have once or twice put petrol in a car. But that's as far as I go with racing. But I guess the ladies in this show are bringing the joy of laughter. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Mm-hmm. What if we get a lot of rev heads coming to the show?
Oh, yes.
Well, you might.
They're not going to hear about my driver, John. I don't think. Then again, maybe they'll love it.
Maybe they will.